What is going on, guys? In today's video I will show you the top 3 best healer builds in New World Season 10. This new update has completely reshaped the support meta with the fresh artifact combos, powerful gear sets and some major changes to the healing perks and the cooldown management. No matter if you're running wars, OPR group expeditions or the new Nighthaven raid, every healer setup now has its own niche and a playstyle. So today we are breaking down the strongest builds, from immortal lifestaff paladins and the burst heal divine protectors to supportive hybrid healers that keep your entire team alive through any chaos. I'll walk you through each build's gear choices, the key perks, attribute setup, and artifact synergies so you can stay ahead of the meta and keep your squad unkillable from day one of the new season. This Lifestaff and Void Gauntlet build is the best healer setup in Season 10. It has become the gold standard for the raids, mutations and every high-end PvE fight. This is not a passive back row healer, but you are an aggressive support that fuels your group's DPS while keeping everyone alive. With the Sacred Ground, Beacon and Orb of Protection on the Lifestaff, paired with the Void Gauntlet's Void Blade, Oblivion and the Essence Rupture, you'll become a healer and DPS in one build. Every strike your team lands will heal them, and every cast will amplify their damage, and every enemy near you will get shredded. Let's take a look at the attributes, and we are running the 350 focus and 150 constitution. That split gives you maximum healing and empowers scaling, while keeping enough HP to survive boss mechanics. This amount of focus will give you a bunch of passives and plus 20% healing output, while the constitution gives us armor for stability. Overall, we can also use focus and constitution food to keep the ratio consistent. Then next we have the Lifestaff tree. The Sacred Ground keeps your tank alive, and with the Fortifying Sacred Ground it adds 25% armor while regenerating stamina and the health. Then Beacon sticks to the bosses or allies, healing everyone in the range, while the Keen Beacon boosts critical hit damage, which is a straight up DPS boost. An Orb of Protection is your quick cast heal and the Fortify tool. With a refreshing move on the weapon, its cooldown will melt away. Then core passives are the Blissful Touch for the healing through the light attacks, then Revitalize for the cooldowns and Desperate Speed for the emergency uptime. And then on the other hand, for the Void Gauntlet, this is where the build truly comes alive. The Void Blade will convert your attacks into melee swings by applying Disintegrate and reducing enemy armor by up to 30%, which becomes a raid-wide damage boost. Then Oblivion will create a 15% empower for your team and will apply Weaken to the enemies inside, which will cut their damage output. And then Essence Rupture grants a lifesteal to everyone hitting your marked target, but turning offense into sustain. The key passives is the Leeching Agony, Refreshing Precision, which is an ultimate that drops once in a while and AoE heal as you attack. Next up, we want to go full light armor for the 30% healing bonus and the maximum mobility. Each piece should have enhanced ward and refreshing. Aim for Fortify Sacred Ground and a Keen Beacon somewhere in your setup if they're not already on your weapon. Then Attuned Leather Pants artifact is perfect for the attribute optimization, and Silken Lidum will add valuable crit synergy. If you're gearing up, then 750 faction set with the health, refreshing and enchanted ward is an excellent starter option. And then for the gems, we use Diamond in your Lifestaff for the bonus healing and the damage at full HP. It will stay active almost constantly thanks to our sustain. And then the Void Gauntlet will run Opal Rune Glass to scale its damage while dodging or under stamina pressure. For armor, we wanna swap in mutation-specific elemental wards, depending on the dungeon type, so Angry Earth, Corrupted, Ancient and etc. And then for jewelry, we follow the Holy Trinity, so Amulet with health plus protection, then the Ring with the Hearty and the Sacred, and Earring with the Refreshing Toast and Empowering Toast. And finally, let's take a look at the gameplay rotation. We open every fight with Oblivion under your melee stack. This gives us immediate empower and starts the Weaken debuff. Then we follow that up with the Essence Rupture on the boss, so your DPS will self-heal through the burst windows. Then we swap to the Lifestaff, drop the Sacred Ground beneath the tank, then fire an Orb of Protection through the group, and tag the boss with a Beacon. Once healing zones are layered, you can go back to the Gauntlet, so activate Void Blade, then swing to maintain Disintegrate stacks, and refresh Oblivion as soon as it drops. Overall, this build will constantly cycle between the offense and defense, so your main goal is empowering your team, shredding armor and keeping everyone alive without ever losing tempo. This Lifestaff and Flail setup is one of the most versatile healer builds in Season 10. It's built for players who want to heal, buff and survive at the same time. It's a true hybrid between the healer and a frontline support. You'll use Sacred Ground, Beacon and Orb of Protection on your life staff for the steady healing uptime, while your Arcane Smite, Arcane Vortex and Arcane Eruption from the flail will provide damage, sustain and crowd control. Together, these will create a rotation that keeps you alive in the melee range while consistently empowering your team. So let's take a look at the attributes. We run 300 focus and 200 constitution. This focus breakpoint will give us maximum healing output with a 20% healing passive, while the 200 constitution provides the ideal mix of durability and the tank resistance. This is crucial since you are often in a melee range with a flail. However, if you prefer a pure healer variant, then you can drop to 150 constitution for slightly more focus, but the 300 and 200 is a sweet spot for a hybrid play. You can also use focus and constitution food to maintain the balance, and if you're running medium armor, then prioritize constitution over focus for safety. So let's take a look at the life staff tree. The Sacred Ground is your anchor. With the Fortifying Sacred Ground, it provides powerful armor and a stamina sustain for the tank and melee stack. Then Beacon is our secondary heal over time and a DPS boost. Always stack bosses with it to keep your uptime high, especially if you're using Keen Beacon for the bonus critical damage. And then finally, the Orb of Protection gives us quick, flexible heals and a 10% fortify that can constantly refresh through the refreshing move with the light attacks. Then passives like the Blissful Touch, Revitalize and the Desperate Speed will ensure that your cooldowns will stay rolling and your allies stay alive even when the fight gets chaotic. And then we move to the flail. The Arcane Smite will deliver a quick burst of arcane damage and apply Beacon by reducing incoming damage. Then Arcane Vortex will spin through the enemies, heal yourself with the Mending Vortex and generate excellent AoE sustain. Then there's the Arcane Eruption, which is your AoE debuff tool. It inflicts Beacon and triggers Arcane Shock by providing consistent group value. Together, these skills will give you constant uptime, personal survivability and a team-wide damage reduction. The key passives like Vital Suppression, Cleric's Blessing and the Heavy Burden will make you tankier, faster and harder to kill. Next, let's talk about the armor and the perks. You want to go with full light armor for the 20 to 30% healing bonus, and fast dodges, or just shift to the medium if you want more tanky hybrid approach. Both of these will work with this setup, so it's your personal preference. Then for perks you want to prioritize Refreshing, Enchanted Ward and the healing perks, like the Fortifying Sacred Ground and the Keen Beacon. Then artifact pieces, such as the Featherweight or the Hoplite armor, will work perfectly for the stat efficiency and the perk synergy. If you're running medium, then combine heavy boots or the chest with light pieces to stay under the 2.29 weight limit. However, if you're running medium, then combine heavy boots or the chest with the light pieces to stay under the 22.9 weight limit. Always aim for the health and physical aversion on the key slots for survivability. Then for gems, you want to socket a diamond in your life staff for increased healing while at full health, as it will be almost active 24/7. And then for your flail, you should run a cut pristine opal to boost damage and healing when the stamina is not at full. On armor, use the ward rune glass tailored to your activity, so corrupted, ancient, angry earth or the lost, depending on the mutation. And then for jewelry setup, you want to follow the PvE trinity. So again, on the amulet, use the health plus protection, then the ring with the sacred and the hearty, an earring with a refreshing toast or the nimble. And finally, let's go over the gameplay rotation. We want to start every fight with the Arcane Eruption to apply Beacon and soften enemies up, then follow with the Arcane Smite for the single target pressure, then Arcane Vortex to sustain yourself through the AoE healing. Once the area is under control, you can swap to the life staff, drop the Sacred Ground under the melee stacks, then toss Orb of Protection through your group and stick Beacon on the boss or the tank. You want to rotate between weapons smoothly, so life staff for the sustained healing and flail for the burst damage and defensive uptime. This lifestaff and rapier build is one of the most agile and skill-expressive healer builds in New World Season 10. It's designed for players who want to heal, evade and outplay, and not just stand behind the fight. This build dominates in 1v1s, small-scale PvP and open-world skirmishes by combining burst healing, mobility and invulnerability frames to make you nearly impossible to kill. Now let's move into the attributes. We are running 300 focus and 200 constitution, which provides the ideal PvP balance between healing and survivability. This amount of focus will give you the 20% healing passive at full scale for your life staff, while the constitution ensures that you won't get one-shotted in group fights or the 1v1s. For the rapier, we want to socket an ember rune glass gem, so your damage will scale from the focus. This lets your light attacks and abilities hit harder without needing dexterity. Then now let's take a look at the lifestaff tree. Divine Embrace is your burst single target heal for the clutch moments, and it's perfect for saving yourself or an ally under pressure. Then Sacred Ground anchors your healing area. With Fortifying Sacred Ground, it grants both sustain and 20% armor to everyone standing in it. And finally, Orb of Protection will provide a quick cast heal, and Fortify, which gives us constant uptime on defenses while adding group sustain. You'll want passives like the Bend Light for the bonus healing after dodging, then Desperate Speed for the cooldown reduction, and Revitalize to reward light attacks with the faster ability resets. Now onto Rapier. The Fletch will give you instant repositioning and a burst invulnerability frames that will dash through the enemies or escape CC chains. Evade is your bread and butter movement skill. Its low cooldown and invulnerability window will let you dodge attacks while weaving in light hits for the cooldown reduction. And then Riposte is the start of the show. It lets you parry incoming attacks and stun enemies who overcommit. It's your get out of jail free card and a punish tool rolled into one. Together, these abilities will make you untouchable when used properly. And then key passives like Controlled Breathing, Adagio, and Perfectionist will reward timing, precision, and the stamina management, making your rapier feel like you got a second life bar. Next up we got armor and perks. We want to go full light for the 30% healing bonus and enchanted roll distance. This build will thrive on mobility. We want to prioritize refreshing, enchanted ward, and defensive perks like health or physical aversion. If possible, we can add omnidirectional evade or leeching flurry to your rapier gear for sustain and smoother mobility chains. And then artifact pieces like the featherweight will make it easier to mix heavier armor while staying in the light load category. Then for jewelry, go with the amulet that got health and protection, then a ring with a hearty and a keen awareness, and an earring with a refreshing toast and a nimble. All of these are crucial for PvP, sustain, and the cooldown control. Then next up, as I mentioned, your lifestaff should always run a diamond for increased healing while at full HP, while your rapier uses Ember Rune Glass to convert damage to the focus scaling. For armor, you can slot Rune Glass of Decided Onyx or Corrupted Ward, depending on your enemy's type. And then finally, let's go over the gameplay rotation. You want to open with the Sacred Ground to establish your zone of control, then apply Orb of Protection to yourself or allies for the Fortify, and then keep Divine Embrace ready for the burst heals when an ally or you will drop too low. Then swap to the Rapier when enemies get too close, Riposte to stun enemies, Evade to dodge counterattacks, and Fletch to disengage or reposition behind the enemy lines. In 1v1s, you can bait attacks with your heals, then punish with the Riposte, and reapply Sacred Ground to reset. The rhythm is simple but skillful. You heal, counter, then evade and rinse and repeat.